Rose Garden, and welcome to this rather meta-heavy character corner. I'm Avalon, indie author, and also fictional character. In their recent video on their Digital Prism sketchbook, June, aka Jinja Ninja, Junja Ninja, said something that really resonated with me. I promised myself I wasn't going to die with my ideas. Unfortunately, I did not come out of the surprising the audience with big twists and reveals being the most important part of storytelling era subconsciously unscathed, and I've been holding back a lot of information about my characters and their stories as a result. For example, I basically stopped talking about Stellar Eclipse at all after Cloudless Rain was published, because I didn't want to spoil developments that occur in it to market Dark Lightning, and that went double for Echoed Thunder. But I'm going to follow June's line of thinking and not die with my ideas trapped in my brain. Plus, if I've learned anything from the success of Shifting Roots, it's hard to market anything without building hype and a fan base for it first, and I can't do that without revealing information, including things that might be spoilers, because the people who are going to enjoy it will enjoy it even if they know what's going to happen. Sometimes they'll enjoy it even more because they can anticipate that moment and enjoy the dramatic irony of knowing something the characters don't. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to my first real OC, who also became my author avatar for reasons that will make sense in a moment, Avalon Roselin. Avalon started out as my very first, very edgy OC in my very first Kingdom Hearts fanfiction. Back then, their appearance was ripped pretty much entirely from the Darkstalkers character Morrigan, and was a heartless and Ansem's love interest who was going to get revenge on Sora for killing him by corrupting Riku and Kairi. Yeah, it was bad and cringe. I mean, if you're a supporter and you've seen Keep It in the Drafts, you know how bad my early writing was. That fic didn't make it past the first chapter, by the way. Even though the fanfiction they originated from died pretty soon after its creation, Avalon as a character stuck around as kind of an alter ego for me to escape into. In a lot of ways, they were my idealized self, as only an emo middle schooler can imagine. But cut me some slack. Middle school is hard in general, especially when you're neurodivergent and queer and don't know either of those things about yourself yet. Avalon was a necessary outlet that I could channel my anger and angst through and use as a fantasy of being confident, hyper-competent, sexy, and powerful. As I grew and changed, so did Avalon, until I created a new role for them to fill, the author insert. I mean, that's basically what they were already, but now it's for plot reasons. So, in Roselin Books lore, Avalon is the creator of all stories. Alice, Like Falling Stars, Stellar Eclipse, they're all stories created by it for its amusement. Around the time I met Ray and started telling him about the character, Avalon was a kind of final boss that the rest of the Roselin Books characters would need to eventually join together and defeat in order to take control of their own lives and stories. Avalon was a much more active and antagonistic character in this iteration. Yes, that means that all the Roselin books are technically set in the same universe, but, less in a Marvel or DC way, and more in a Kingdom Hearts, these are separate worlds that would usually be unaware of each other, but they can come together due to extreme circumstances way. Let us not forget that the three biggest media influences on my creativity are Warrior Cats, Kingdom Hearts, and Dot Hack. Nothing about Avalon's story is 100% confirmed as of right now, but I am attached to the idea of Avalon representing the role of the author, since I am using their name for my pen name. I also really like it having a sort of cosmic horror element where they are aware that all these book characters are just characters, but the characters are not, or otherwise still want to be able to live their lives and make the choices they would choose, rather than be forced into the path of their narrative role. My current idea for Avalon is that they are experiencing some kind of burnout. Call it writer's block or divine apathy, but they just haven't been feeling the motivation to create lately, which is also bad news for the characters because that means their lives are stagnant. And if Avalon gets too bored or restless, they might just completely erase their realities and start over from scratch. A few pieces of Avalon's power that have gained separate consciousnesses are trying to solve this problem, and, well, it's not going great, but the universe still exists, so what they're doing can't be the worst idea ever, right? Avalon's personality has also changed from being bold and confident and sexy to, well, pretty detached. There are hints that they used to have a fiery temper, but they're too tired to care enough to get that mad anymore. When I think of them now, I think of a deity that's been ruling the universe for a little too long, who has never been truly challenged or tested. It knows it's the most powerful being in existence, so what's the point of bothering with anything when it knows it can twist and recreate reality to change anything it doesn't like? Avalon is currently my only original character that uses its pronouns, which is an expression of how it leads a very singular existence when compared to my other characters, being the only one of its kind. So I think those are going to stay pretty unique to Avalon. I have tweaked and changed Avalon's design a lot throughout the last decade, and when I decided I wanted them to become the mascot of the channel as well, I worked with my friend Air on a new look. I wanted something clearly fantastical with some dragon features, but something understated enough that I could potentially cosplay them to conventions if I were to be a vendor again. We finally came up with a design that was slightly simplified from my first pass at character art to be used on the channel for Avalon. We reduced the number of horns and simplified the outfit to get rid of the dragon wing armor and drape, replacing it with a coat based on one that I actually own. The coat is black in real life, but was given a purple tint in the artwork to help connect it to the rest of the design and to stand out against the usually dark backgrounds. Roselin Books as a whole has a purple color scheme, from Coffee to Patreon to several iterations of video backgrounds. That's because purple is Ray's favorite color, while mine is black. So I wanted to use dark purple in their color scheme to reflect this, and make sure they look cohesive with other Roselin Books things. The golden amber eyes and silvery white hair have been mainstays since the very first version of the character, and they complement the purple really nicely. Yes, this means that Avalon's color scheme is, and has almost always been, predominantly purple, black, white, and yellow. The foreshadowing is off the charts. You might think that Avalon's hairstyle is based on the hairstyle I had a few years ago, but that would be reversing cause and effect. While Avalon once had long hair, I came up with the short in back, long sides look for them years ago, and adopted the haircut for myself at a time in my life when I was feeling pretty insecure and vulnerable and wanted to channel their confidence. Once I started being more comfortable in my own skin again, I let my hair grow out, and I currently wear it long while Avalon maintains their iconic cut. I really couldn't be happier with Avalon's current look. And now I'll answer some supporter questions about Avalon. TR asked the classic, what is their favorite color? And that would be purple and black, of course. CarlottaStudios asked, what kind of magical creature are they? And this is a little harder to pin down because Eldritch Deity of Literature isn't really a specific magical creature, so I'm being a little abstract with this answer. If Avalon were to appear within a story, rather than being the one controlling them from the outside, it would be some kind of ancient, powerful dragon, something like Fire Emblem's Divine Dragon, or more fitting for their aesthetic, Fell Dragon. I personally like the idea of a Fate Dragon, whatever that means. CarlottaStudios also asked, what kind of magic do they have? Canonically, Avalon's power is to create stories, which in context means entire worlds, even entire galaxies and universes, and also to destroy them. Creation and destruction probably best fits the category of their powers, and they can do just about anything in that framework. And also levitating and moving objects around because that's fun. In past iterations, Avalon also had a dragon form. I think changing their appearance falls under destruction of the past version and creation of a new body, but they don't change their appearance often outside minor details. TR followed up with a loaded question. What is their favorite world or book to visit, and what form did they take to disguise themselves while there? The problem with this answer being that Avalon really doesn't visit the books directly. It does have avatars that can keep an eye on specific things in book worlds for it, and it can kind of see and experience the worlds through these, but it's distant. The most notable one of these avatars, in the sense that the characters have noticed and interacted with it, would be Cheshire from Alice. But again, Cheshire is not Avalon itself. Hypothetically speaking, Avalon would probably want to be a dragon in the Stellar Eclipse universe, but appearing in person would basically break the world as only the presence of an eldritch deity could, so they won't. I legitimately wonder how they would manifest in the Alliance saga. As a cat, a form of magical energy on its own, or maybe some kind of beast? So many fun ideas to explore with that one. More questions from CarlottaStudios. Do they have any pets or familiars? Ray answered this one with, does Renata count? Oh, but Avalon doesn't have anything they would consider a pet, though they do have various underlings that are probably more like pets than people to them. In a way, everyone outside of Avalon is a pet because they don't see the book characters as existing on the same level of consciousness that they do. Do they read and enjoy fanfiction, and if so, what are some of their favorite fanfic tropes? Avalon does not read fanfiction, but if they did, their favorite tropes would be hurt comfort, found family, and angst or wump. We do have some things in common after all. Would they consider themselves a protagonist, a mentor figure, a beloved side character, or a big bad awesome villain? Previously, Avalon would have been a big bad awesome villain, and some part of it still views itself that way, but that's only because you didn't list uncaring God as an option. Are they open to cannibalism? If there were any other beings like Avalon that existed, it would be. Maybe there's a reason there aren't more like them around, or perhaps they've engaged in auto-cannibalism before. Eclipsy Animates asked, would they go to a Pride event if given the chance to? If they were to exist among people for a day, Pride would probably be too loud and crowded for them. They typically aren't interested in seeking community and see themselves as existing apart from others, and happily so for the most part. Now, lastly, if you know much about my process, you know that music is a major source of inspiration for me. I did not include the songs on the ref sheet this time because it's irrelevant information to include on a visual ref sheet, and also because Avalon songs are a little particular. The 3 songs I most associate with Avalon are Lost in Thoughts All Alone from Fire Emblem Fates, but specifically the English cover by Amma Lee due to how she interprets the lyrics to make the you in question more of an active player in the events that transpire. Now, is that you Avalon, or is Avalon singing this to the you who will decide the course of the story? Yes. God Diva by Alley Project, really dating myself with this one, but I love a banger about the futility of resistance against your role in a story and how those locked into a tragedy cannot save themselves as an uncaring audience watches on. Very Avalon. I also love that it opens with the evil laughter of the Queen of the Night aria, because that too is very Avalon core. And lastly, Kill the Lights by the Birthday Massacre, because we need a goth band on here, and again, a song about putting on a show to obscure the truth and reality and the ultimate failure of that facade. Yes. And that is all the information that I will share about Avalon for now. Do you have more questions about them, or maybe other characters you'd like to see on Character Corner? Tell me in the comments. And while you're there, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more content like it, and check the links in my description for more ways to support my work. Keep growing until next time, Rose Garden!